One of the things Alan said was he's telling guys, don't believe the hype that the Packers are dead or the Packers are in trouble. You were there when the world thought that the Packers might have been in trouble after one game last year. What was that like in terms of the belief that you guys had in yourselves after a really ugly start?
Yeah, no, it's in the NFL. Every week is a new chapter. There wasn't even like a thing, and we honestly, maybe I should have brought that up. I don't know. We're focused on ourselves. We're focused on getting better. So we honestly have not even brought that up in our room offensively. We know we got an elite defense sitting right in front of us that we got to get ready to go to battle with. So,
what kind of confidence did the quarterback up there have after a bad week one last time?
Yeah, his confidence is high. I mean, 18 years and he's been the best in the business most of that time. So his confidence is probably pretty good.
Justin Fields talked about having a great attitude and keeping composure even after a bad first half, and you mentioned just kind of offhandedly that you had a big smile on your face at halftime. Where does that come from? Have you always been like that in terms of being able to put something bad behind you and going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try to be as consistent of a person every day for those guys, right? Positive energy is important to me, and this is a really hard game, and so we work so hard all week to have fun on Sundays, and these guys. And let me throw it back at him and compliment him. I was really impressed by how he handled every situation, like the way we were able to talk about what happened on the field. When you're backed up and then and then he throws an interception, and that whole time that dude was stone cold. He was ready to go. There was no woe is me at all in that young man. That's what's been so cool about him. So that makes it a lot easier too.
Luke, how do you establish a running game when you haven't established a passing game to keep defenses honest? I mean, wasn't that a big key in Green Bay?
No, yeah. I mean, you got to take advantage of what's given to you, right? And when you play an elite defense like we did last week, and we got the same challenge again this week, I mean, that's what things are going to be. They're going to be hard. And so when you get 3 yards on a play, you can't get frustrated by that. That to me, that's part of it. And so we stuck to the plan, and we kept going, and we kept the mentality the way we wanted to keep it. We wanted the play style the way that we want to keep it, and so we just got to stick to that plan and not get too caught up by the result too much right now. And I think that paid off for us.
Coaches, say that a lot. We want to stick to the run, but isn't that easier said than done? It seems like in the moment, it's easy to kind of panic and just start throwing the ball over the place.
Well, I'm a quarterback by heart, so I want to throw the ball every play. So that part of it's hard for me every time. But no, it's an important part about our play style and how we're going to go win football games, right? So if you're going into a game and your plan is the way to beat this team, the way that you present to us that we should beat you is to throw it 50 times, so then you got to stick to that plan. And if your plan is to attack them in the run game, and you got to stick to that plan. And when you feel like there's something that's off, then you make those adjustments. And I think we made a few adjustments at halftime that were good for us, but they weren't earth-shattering things that we changed. It was just a little bit different way we wanted to go about doing it. And so those things were more important than necessarily just saying, we got to run the ball. We're not going to be stubborn either. I really believe it's about taking advantage of what the defense gives you, not just running the ball or not just passing the ball.
What do you like about the split that you have between Montgomery and Herbert? Because it felt like, when David was getting bottled up, you were able to turn to Khalil, and he was really effective last week.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it wasn't. I wouldn't view it that way. I think, Khalil had a few more presentations that were a little bit easier than David had, and he took advantage of them. Now, don't get me wrong, he did. And but David, I mean, literally one of the plays of the game, in my opinion, because it could have was that screen that, I mean, we literally didn't block anybody, and David made 6 guys miss and get 16-yard gain or whatever it was. That was a huge play. So we're lucky. We got 2 good ones, and so we're gonna keep going with those 2 guys.
Aaron Rodgers spoke really complimentary about seeing your rise in coaching and being there alongside you. How would you describe your relationship with him, and What you gained from him over the years?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've gained a ton. In 14, 15, I got to sit in that room as a quality control, and so I really just got to like kind of dive into that football mind and like sitting in the back of in the corner there, just taking it all in and hearing the conversations that him and Van Pelt and Clements and McCarthy would have. That was a great opportunity for me and good moment in my growth for sure. The relationship wise, I think we have a ton of respect for each other, for the work ethic that we have, the passion, and then ultimately, I think we care about each other a lot, and so I think that part of it, we always knew we had each other's backs, and so I think we proved it to each other all the time. So that part of it was when you're coaching a guy and you spend that much time and you care about somebody, I think that's where that goes from.
Knowing him the way you do, how do you describe his wiring as it relates to the troubleshooting process? Obviously, they've got to figure some things out this weekend, but how does he go about that, and what's his wiring when a time to figure things out?
Listen, there's 17 games, and it's a season of progress, and to panic over one game, to panic over one thing, like it's a long year. Like it was New Orleans last year, right? And my first year ever, it was in Seattle in 14 with those guys when we got our butts whooped, and we ended up going back to the NFC Championship game that year. So it's a game, and then you stick to the details and what you want to be good at, and that guy's really good at a lot of things, so they're able to do a lot.
How did it go rotating the right guard position?
It went well. I mean, that was good. I think it was helpful, honestly, for both of them. One guy's new to the position, and one guy hasn't practiced in over a month. So I think it went well. I thought they both played really well. They both did a lot of really cool things. When you talk about the play style and the mindset, I was using both of them in our offensive unit for what the expectation is. So.
Do you think that's a temporary thing, or can you keep doing that?
Yeah, well, fortunately, we don't have to make that decision yet. So we'll keep going with whatever we feel is best each week, and we'll take it one day at a time.
You talked about finding the best 5 of all camp. I mean, did you end up with 6?
Right now, kind of. Right now, that's kind of the way it looks. And we'll, like I said, hopefully we can keep getting more depth in the room because this is a long season and things happen. So there's no reason for us to go just jumping on anything like that.
What did you like from what you saw from Justin in the second half that you want to see him carry over? And then is there any areas that you want to see him get better or improve moving forward?
No, it was the same stuff we've been talking about all along here, right? There's a way we got to play the game. I was really impressed with the way that he communicated in that game. Really impressed. When you talk about Aaron, I was just saying to somebody else, like one of the coolest things that you get to do when you coach Aaron is you get to hear him say exactly what happened on every play. I mean, to the detail is just unbelievable. It's impeccable, and like Justin had a lot of those cool conversations with us in the game. So that was really fun to be a part of that. So. Just want to keep getting him to grow, and we'll keep getting better every day. And he's a young dude, and I got to remember that too. I got to have patience with it too.
What was your experience like, this first real game calling plays? What was that like, and kind of how did you grade yourself afterwards?
I didn't really grade myself, but it was a lot of fun, first off. But we really do this thing together offensively. I got some really good dudes on this side of the ball. I mean, Simo and Janoko and Tyke and Jimmy. I mean, like literally all those guys. I'm missing the other guys, but D-Walk, like everyone participates during this week, and we put this plan together. And then by the time you get there, you're just following the plan. And then I've said this before, I'm a feel guy, right? I'm an instinct person. That's just how I've always been in my life. And so you get in the game and you have some instincts, and I trusted them, and I'm glad I trusted them. Sometimes, most of the time it worked, but sometimes it didn't too. So I want to stay true to who I am.
On Justin's near interception, what did he communicate about what happened on that one, and the one Gibson dropped to the right to EQ?
Yeah, no, that's my fault, honestly. That's my fault. That was supposed to be Pettis. That wasn't supposed to be EQ. So EQ ran a route that he shouldn't have run, and that was on me. I should have had the personnel different.
Is that a...
So it wasn't, EQ hadn't practiced that route at all, and that's how the timing, the rhythm, I put that on me.
So is there an outcome bias to that at all, where you dive into that play the same way, just given that obviously they didn't capitalize on it, but it's still...
Yeah, no, EQ, thank goodness for EQ, right? EQ held on to the guy's arm and didn't let him catch it. So like, EQ, that's the kind of guy he is, right? He took a bad play and didn't let it be worse.
You mentioned sitting in a room with Rodgers and hearing conversations you would have with other people. Do you have any examples of maybe working with a mind like that shaped your coaching today?
He challenges you every day to be on it, right? Your details, there's no like, maybe, kinda, sortas. You got to bring it, you got to know it, and the dude's intelligence level is really high, so you better bring it. And at the same time, he loves to have fun, and so do I. So that was refreshing to like, here's the best in the business that like to have fun, and can always kind of come back and be centered and focused and stuff. And so like that was really cool. As a young coach, getting up there early on in my career and being able to, just be that's really cool that you can do this and still have a lot of success and people, the good teammate that he was, like all that stuff is just I relate to that a lot.
What could you tell about your wideouts in a rainstorm that applies to the next 16 games?
No, I mean they all played their tails off. I mean, we asked them to do a lot, and those guys played hard. I mean, EQ had like 6 or 7 critical plays for us that were the right. And I know one was a touchdown, but it was that his only target? I think he maybe had one other target, but yeah. Okay, so like he had the one he shouldn't have had, and then he had the touchdown, right? And so the things that he did, like getting out in front of Pettis so Pettis could score, and going in and cracking a linebacker, there's just a lot of good stuff that those guys did, and Pringle did the same thing. So we're just happy with their play style, and we're going to ask them to do it again. So.
Is preparing for a team that you're so familiar with, offensively and defensively, is that any different? Is that emotional? Is it more difficult? Is it an advantage? What's the impact?
It's not emotional. It's not emotional at all. But familiarity with the personnel is probably the advantage. That's it. I mean, those guys are really good. So like, Joe Barry's a stud. Like those guys are all good up there. I mean, they got good players, good scheme. So it's a challenge. It's a fun challenge. It'd be cool to go compete against your friends. It's going to be fun.
This Bears staff seems less concerned with the Bears-Packers rivalry than most. You've been on both sides of it. Are the Bears mentioned as much up there as the Packers are mentioned down here?
I mean, there is the natural both sides that don't like each other or whatever, but I'm not into that really. And so maybe I don't pay attention to it enough, I'll be honest with you. But I just think there's a lot of respect both ways. I really do. I think that's why you saw Aaron has fun with it. There's a lot of respect between both teams. And I can remember McCarthy used to have signs up all over the building whenever we played the Bears. And stuff. So it's there. It's definitely there. But as far as how I've always taken it, I've never really got into I hate one or the other either way. I really haven't.
What kind of signs did Mike have?
Oh, I'll let that. That's my.
What was your reaction when Aaron told the crowd that I still own you?
That's him being him. That's his swag, right? That's his swag. It's the way he plays the game. The competitor. That's how he gets his juice. I mean, that's him, man.
Did your kids have a lot of Packers stuff? Are they not allowed to wear it anymore?
They're definitely not allowed to wear it. We had an unbelievable time up there. The people up there. We have so many friends in that town, man. This is that's the part where it was hard to leave. The friendships that you have with the people of Green Bay in that area, and obviously the people in the organization. But no, our kids did great. They 3 of my sons love ball. I mean, love ball, and so they quickly were just all about Justin Fields. So.
Thank you. What does the challenge entail facing a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers?
You're probably facing, one of the best in history. So when you're facing a guy like that, that's a guy that has a ton of experience. You're not going to trick him. You're not going to fool him. Super accurate, can throw from different angles. One of the best B-gap escape guys in football. You just have to play a complete football game.
They obviously had some issues in week 1 and are a little disjointed as he gets used to new receivers and offensive line's in flux and a coaching staff that's not. How do you seize on that as an opponent when an opponent is still working through some of those things, even if it is an all-time great quarterback?
Yeah, number one thing, don't buy into that. That's, I remember last year watching TV and the media, they were crucifying him, they were crucifying the team, they were saying that they were done, and they, they were crucifying him. And you can't buy into that. You still have to improve. Our job is to not worry about what's going on with them. Our job is to make sure that we're improving each week and worry more about ourselves than what may be happening in Green Bay.
How can you, with rookies in your secondary, how can you prepare them for playing a guy like that who could really take advantage of, I guess, of some of their inexperience?
One of the things that we talk about is look at the tape, evaluate it for what it is, and really not just the rookies, but the whole group. There's some guys that have never played at Green Bay, and some guys that haven't played Sunday night football. So it's different, but it's not. It's different in the way that it's Sunday night, lots of media, lots of attention, but it's still football. So our job is to really stay the course, stay focused, execute alignment, assignment, key, and technique, and focus more about that than what the surrounding atmosphere is during the ball game.
You also have guys like Eddie and Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith and Jalen Johnson who have played in this environment on Sunday night at Lambeau Field. In what ways do you maybe lean on them a little bit to help those young guys who haven't been through that?
Mm-hmm. Like we always do, we tell the young guys, hey, talk to the older guys, see if you can glean a nugget or two of wisdom from those guys, what it's like, how was it the first time you were there. And that's why the vets are so valuable. The leadership is so valuable that we have on our team, because they do impart knowledge to the rookies, and not just the rookies, everyone.
You're coming off of playing a team with Deebo Samuel, somebody who they can feature a lot of different ways. The Packers don't have a lead receiver, a clear one for the first time in a long time. What's the difference in how you prepare for a team with a clear-cut number one and somebody who doesn't really have one yet?
Not falling into that trap to say they don't have a number one. Really, it's we try to tell the guys, don't drink the Kool-Aid of what the media is trying to sell, that there's gloom and doom in Green Bay. Don't fall into that trap. So that is the first message. And then the quarterback, don't underestimate the power of great leadership. He is a great leader, and he will get those guys into shape. So again, what we're doing is trying to block out everything else and focus in on the task at hand, which is improving each week, follow the process, stay the course, keep worrying about, hey, this is the next football game, not necessarily the Super Bowl or anything else like that. We need to take care of ourselves and our business and what we need to do, and more so than who they are and what they're doing.
How does that quarterback make his receivers better?
He's super accurate. Again, you're not going to fool him, so he can get them in the right play. He can check out of plays. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That's a big deal. So he'll try to get you with substitution, those type of things. So we just have to be sharp on, again, how we're executing the game plan.
The thing that jumps out about Dominique Robinson is the pass rush ability. Did he play the run better than you guys might have hoped for first time out against San Francisco?
I don't know if it was better than we hoped, because we thought that Dominique was a pretty good player, and we were just waiting for the actual real ball game rather than preseason to see how he was going to function, and he did well. What we were looking for is just, I know you guys may get tired of it, the hits principle. Did he hustle? Was he number one in the world in running to the football? Was when he hit, did he knock guys backwards? Did he get lined up? Didn't necessarily take the football away, but he almost did. And did he play smart football? So we're just really focused on that, and not necessarily one specific part, run pass. He was fine. He was fine.
There's been a lot of talk about Eddie Jackson since you guys got here, having a fresh slate, clean slate this year. What did you see? How would you assess that interception? And how much do you think that'll help him confidence-wise moving forward to actually do what he was hoping to do?
Assess it, great play, great job. I don't take for granted when a guy even just catches the ball, the ones they throw to you. And then the other thing you asked, I don't think Eddie lacks for any confidence. There may be some other people that may say, well, it's been this many ball games, this many years since he's had an interception, but Eddie he does not lack for confidence. So I don't know if you would say that boosted his confidence. Eddie's a confident guy. When you work like Eddie works and you're smart like Eddie, football intelligence, the confidence doesn't wane.
Do you consult Luke Getsy on any of the tendencies of Aaron Rodgers to help you with your game plan?
Not just, I try to take all the information in. So I try to talk to Luke, I talk to our players that have played them before. I've faced Aaron, the offense, and Aaron many times. So I gather as much information as I can and then sift through it, what I can use to help me and then what I need to throw out, because sometimes you get too much information and then you get paralysis by analysis, and we do not want to do that.
When you talk about how you're not going to trick Aaron Rodgers or fool Aaron Rodgers, do you just leave that stuff out and do things differently for somebody like him than you would for other quarterbacks?
No, I do know this. With a guy like him, it's tough to get to him with 4 guys. So you have to bring pressure and you fill up the holes, and so that he can't escape. Remember, I said that he was the greatest B-gap escape guy. So you have to bring pressure. You have to get guys on him. You have to try to make him uncomfortable and bring more than 4 to get home.
Going back to Dominique, he said that his game grade in terms of hits and lofts got dinged a couple times. One was a hot stove, which he explained to me. You guys call it hot stove. He explained that to me. He also said he got dinged again for getting caught in the stack. What is that?
Maybe not getting out of the stack, which is when the football is thrown, that he's stopped and turns and pursues the football. So if you don't do that a million miles an hour full speed, like your hair's on fire, you have some work to do. So he may have been mentioning or alluding to that.
It seems like
there's a lot of questions about Rodgers, right, and rightfully so, but it's the running backs that might actually, for them, determine the game, right? What are your thoughts about those two?
2 outstanding running backs. We call them, they're thickians. That means they have thicker lower bodies. They can move the pile, good jump cuts. They have great vision. They can catch the football. They protect well. So 2 very complete backs, 2 backs that can change the ball game, 2 backs that can move the sticks. So we're going to have our hands full in terms of where that's concerned. We're going to have to bring extra guys to make sure we stop those 2. We need 6, 7, 8 guys to take care of those 2 guys.
It makes it tough too, right? Because you're saying bring pressure to get to Rodgers, but if you take your focus off the running backs, things go haywire the other way too.
Well, you gotta pick your poison. I'd like to, with their group, I'd like to play with 12, but they just won't let us. So, yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
With regard to the running game, as you were mentioning, it seems like no matter who the Packers are missing on their offensive line, they always run the ball well with Rodgers. Is it just the running backs? Why is that? Why have they been so successful, even in tougher situations?
Yeah, I just think phenomenal coaching. I think the quarterback puts them in good situations, good plays. Again, they don't make mistakes, so they don't hurt themselves. They're a good football team, and when you have good football teams, they each week, if there's a letdown, the next week they figure it out and they improve, and that's one thing that they do no matter who's in the lineup. That's the sign of good leadership, good coaching, a good football team.
For Jaquan and Dominique and Kyler, that trio there really made an impact in week 1. what impressed you about what they were able to do as rookies in their NFL debuts, and how does having that early success help them, maybe confidence-wise, going into Green Bay and facing someone like Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I would say just trying to be steady, not trying to get, the highs and lows of a football season. Last week was one football game. We have a lot more to go. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So it just gives them, the confidence, this is the NFL. I do belong. And then the challenge is going to be, do I belong week after week after week after week after week after week? And so that's going to be the challenge for those guys and the rest of the team, making sure that we have mental and physical stamina.